is that it's not just as a business owner, and I have been many times over, you're not just paying salaries. I mean, you still have supply costs and your property costs and your property taxes and your county taxes and your city taxes and your business licenses. And, I mean, there is a plethora of other things to pay for besides your salaries. So it's very expensive in California. On the other hand, let me say this, as an employee, the benefits are innumerable.
Okay.
You are so well protected as an employee in the state of California. It's unbelievable. The amount of insurance that's paid for you. You get hurt on the job. Oh, workman's comp, that's another cost. You get hurt on the job, there's workman's comp. You get disabled, you have to be out of work for more than a month, there's disability insurance. Something happens and somebody else gets hurt by your hand, there's insurance to protect you from that. It's pretty amazing.
So if we were going to, so I think one of the issues that I have when I hear people talking about this, the raise the minimum wage to $15 and things like that, is we're trying to be compassionate only to the workers, and we're not being compassionate or empathetic towards the business owners and the people who are taking a lot of risk in order to provide jobs. What I think I hear you saying, and please help me understand, this is a question, is what's actually happening within any business as they're paying people to do a job, giving these people all of these benefits, these insurances and things like that, if we were to change the system so that we were paying people, let's say $15 an hour or, a higher amount of money, would we then have to change the system so that they had to pay for all of their own insurances? Is that how you would have to change the system so that people could take home more money and then they would be responsible themselves for all of those insurances?
Generally in small businesses, yes.
Okay.
That's how that would have to happen. Or the customer would have to pay the balance. I mean, most small business owners in California are not making a tremendous amount of money. They're surviving. I know in the hair industry, often as the owner of the salon, you're just creating a space where you don't have to pay rent to work. I mean, often for small salons.
Define a small salon.
5 chairs or less.
5 chairs or less, okay. So having 5 employees.
So renters. So a salon owner will have renters so that they don't have to pay all those things.
So instead of having employees, they have chairs that they rent out.
Yes.
Okay. And then what happens in that situation as far as all of those insurances and things for the business owner?
In that situation, you are technically still required to carry liability insurance for everybody in your building. And it's not because you're technically responsible for them, it's because the insurance company will require it of you because they will probably get dragged into it if something happens. So it's kind of a weird gray area. But you don't pay workman's comp, you don't pay disability insurance, you don't pay taxes on that. The only thing you pay on is income tax on the rent that they're paying you.
Okay.
And the way it's supposed to work is that you are not supposed to provide them anything other than the space in which to work. So it's like a locker cabinet maybe, and a chair, and sinks, stuff like that. That's it.
So they have. What are the things that someone who's renting would have to bring in on their own?
Literally everything. All their supplies, all their tools, technically their towels, their own way of communicating with their guests, everything.
Hair color, equipment.
Shampoo, you name it. If they need it, they gotta have it.
So as a renter, you're having to build your own tool set, kind of like a contractor or someone who works in, like an electrician or someone, a general contractor, someone who works in construction.
Yes.
They have to bring their own tools. They have to bring their own.
Yes.
So how do you? So we've added some layers here. There's employees who you have to pay all of these things for. There's renters who are not being paid under the table, but that's a whole different gray area in between. And then there's people getting paid under the table. How in a system where you're not necessarily employing people, you have renters, and then there's people being paid under the table, how can you change that system, like we were talking about, to work?
Well, one of the things that they've done in California that was supposed to help was when you apply to renew your license, which is every 2 years, you have to state where you work.
Okay.
But I don't know that there's any follow-up to that. There's not enough personnel at State Board of Barbering and Cosmetology to cover all that. So it just gets sketchy.
So it's kind of like any law that's put in place. It's not so much that the law exists, it's how can it be enforced.
Yes.
And since there's not a way to enforce those laws or those boundaries or ideas or whatever you want to call them, there are people who are finding loopholes and ways to get around those laws.